Is the role of a restaurant manager? This is a question I just got from John, who's been working as a server for many years for the restaurant that he works at, and he's really looking into possibly entering the management world within the restaurant, which is what I strongly recommend. If you are working at a restaurant in any capacity, always think about, what's next for me? And being a restaurant manager, it could be a kitchen manager, it could be a front of the house manager, a general manager. Move up the ladder. You're standing next to a ladder, climb it up. You know what I'm saying? So that's that, and we're going to talk about it today. And another thing that I'm really excited to share with you is a restaurant manager score sheet that I have as a resource for you that you can download freely in the description down below. One of the things that is very important is to define success of a role. So whether you have worked as a restaurant manager for a while and you tune into this show, or that you're looking into becoming a restaurant manager, I think it would be very beneficial for you to look at, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, how am I going to measure how successful a restaurant manager I am? And so that is the reason for the score sheet I have down here for you to grab in the description. Okay, now let's get into it. We could go on and talk about becoming a successful restaurant manager, or what your role is as a restaurant manager, for hours and hours, of course. But today, what I want to really focus on is like the top 4 priorities that are kind of the most important things for a restaurant manager. And we're going to get into it and unpack those. So here we go. One is obviously leadership and team management, operational excellence. The other one is financial management, and customer service, and our guest experience management. Those are the top 4 priorities for you as a restaurant manager. Now, aside from those priorities, it is important to know by default, you need to be at a certain level when you're entering a leadership role in a restaurant. And that is, you have got to have the technician work where it needs to be. So you are first a technician. A technician is the order taker, or a server is, say, the person who pours beer or wine at a restaurant as a server capacity. In the kitchen, in our environment, we're in the pizza world, our taste experience creators, which are our cooks or our pizza makers. You could have whatever capacity you work at a restaurant. That is technician work. You must have mastered that first before you look into management. No one's going to respect me as a restaurant owner, in my case, or a manager, if I can't handle myself in the kitchen, or if I can't handle a customer concern masterfully. So I'm not saying you got to be phenomenal at everything, but you got to be dangerous at a few things. Like, so for instance, for me, I may not be able to handle our, shirt store on a Friday night by myself solid, because I've not done it in a long time, but at least I know I can be very dangerous on the make line, right? You got to be phenomenal at a few things that the team is going to respect you. So that's the first thing. We got to be at that level already before we have these conversations, which I am assuming you are. Now let's dive into team development. One of your main roles as a manager is to develop your team. You are going to have an incredible hard time and stressful time as a restaurant manager managing a weak team. If your team is strong, they know what to do and they know how to do it, and they're fast and they understand and they work with a sense of urgency. You have systems in the restaurant like the prep list and all of that, where restaurant is managed as such. You're going to have an easy time being a restaurant manager. If you're stressed, it's because you have a weak team. So and why do you have a weak team? We're not pointing at that. The team that's weak, we got to point at ourselves, because we're the leader of that team. So team development is your top priority. Always knowing where your team members are individually and what is next for them. How are you going to strategically pair 2 team members to develop their skill set and they can learn from one another? And that's going to also, it's important for you to have a training system. You have to have a training plan where you're moving the team above step by step, and obviously an advancement level. When they're at this level, they're able to get a raise. It's very frustrating to work for a manager who has no idea what's next, right? If I'm at this level of a skill set, I'm going to get a raise. That's what the team is going to know, what they're working toward. Conflict resolution is very important as a restaurant manager. This is within your team development. This is a skill set for you to develop. The conflict happens within a team. When you're just a team member, well, that's over there. It's not your problem. But when there's conflict, when there's bickering, when people are condescending, when they roll their eyes, they're passive aggressive, that becomes your problems. You got to know how to handle those conflicts. 2 things. 1, you're going to learn from your own mistakes, which is non-negotiable life on planet Earth. I learned a lot from my own mistakes. I've made plenty and continue to do so, as well as learning from other people. Now, that's why you're in on YouTube, trying to learn from other people's experience. There are many, many books out there, podcasts about conflict resolution within the team, and that is your responsibility as a restaurant manager to master. The next priority for you as a restaurant manager is operational excellence, and that's defined differently at different operations at different restaurants. But basically, exceeding our guests' expectation when it comes to everything, to me, is initially part of the operational excellence. Customer comes in with an expectation for their ticket time. They're come in of wait time. They're going to come in with an expectation of service they want to receive, friendliness of our servers, and the speed of service, all the things, and portion control and consistency. That is an expectation people have coming into our restaurants. We must always exceed that expectation, and that is one way to define our operational excellence. Another huge and very important part of being a restaurant manager is understanding finances and financials in the restaurant. Cost control. You as a manager are going to be trusted with handling 60% of overhead in a restaurant. So for instance, for us, if I have one restaurant that its gross sales $1 million, we are getting our managers to manage $600,000, of which for prime costs, part of that is going to be for our food. The other half of it, around 25 to 30% of it, will go for labor and payroll to staff the stores. I'm telling my manager, hey, this is a $1 million sales operations. Here is $300,000 for you to buy food and prep for the customers. And here's another almost $300,000 for you to staff the stores. That is a lot of money. That's a huge responsibility. Those numbers must be babysat. We babysit numbers. And our company, we do not babysit people, but we sure babysit numbers. And when I say that, it means you must really have a very close handle on those two costs. Your labor costs, we check it daily. We have sales projections. We want to have equally labor projections. We want to have a budget for our purchases. Those are the basics of finance management in a restaurant, where you really have to control cost. You could be phenomenal, you could be friendly, you could be wonderful with the team and all of that, but you can really take the restaurant operations under if you are not good at this aspect of restaurant management. Last but not least, it's our experience that you provide as a restaurant manager to our customers, and really understanding their expectations and what it's going to take to exceed it. You could, again, all the aspects we talked about, you'd be phenomenal with the team, developing, leaders and all of that jazz, understanding operational excellence, and obviously have a handle on our cost. But if you really don't understand what it takes to make our customers happy, who are ultimately our bosses or our customers, and understanding our reputation, handling any customer complaints that come in. If you come across arrogant, you're not arrogant, but if you come across condescending with guests, or the manner in which you carry yourself, handle different issues in the building, that could really affect all that we do in the restaurant. So it is a skill set, another skill set for you to develop to be a successful restaurant manager. If you have not grabbed that restaurant manager score sheet, that's a free resource for you down in the description. Get in there, download it, score yourself, and comment below with your score. How do you, again, I'm not telling you because I'm a perfect manager or a restaurant owner. This is an ongoing process. We're always working. We're always acquiring skill set. We're always serving and growing at all of these areas. Let me know if you have any other questions about being a awesome restaurant manager. Would love to talk about it. This is a topic I'm incredibly passionate about. We are developing managers. We're opening new restaurants in the next 3 months, about 3 stores actually through April. So we're working on those. We're developing our team. We're looking to hire restaurant managers. These are the topics that I deal with and I love on a weekly, daily basis. And I would love to hear your feedback. And with that, it is time to get back to work and make some dough. Thank you. Bye-bye.